Welcome to Pod Me If You Can. I'm David Farrell. Today on the show, we're talking about the DVD from 2000, starring Craig Ferguson. It's called Born Romantic. Jimmy Mystery's in it, Olivia Williams, and Catherine McCormick.
Pardon Me If You Can. Movie reviews.
Frankie, Craig Ferguson, gets out of a cab at a salsa club and meets Eleanor, Olivia Williams, whom he starts to pursue. Fergus, played by David Morrissey, has a moment of clarity and realizes he wants his ex, Mo, played by Jane Horrocks, whom he jilted a week before their wedding 8 years ago. Meanwhile, Eddie, played by Jimmy Mystery, and his off-sider, Paddy Considine, are bumbling criminals trying to steal a man's money at the ATM, but wind up splitting and evading the police. Eddie finds himself at a salsa club where he meets Jocelyn, Catherine McCormick. These three men all pursue their respective love interests throughout London. So Craig Ferguson in this role fancies himself as something of a Sinatra or a Dean Martin character. However, his living situation is really terrible. He's stuck living with Hermione Norris from Cold Feet, his ex-wife. He has basically no money and no potential prospects, despite the fact that he's a man in a suit, and he woos women and tries to sing and perform to win over their affections. He's the manager and sometimes singer at a nightclub. The character of Fergus, played by David Morrissey, was one of the funnier guys in the film. For me, there was this great moment where he thinks to himself, I really want Mo, his ex. And so he stands on the roof of his building and literally starts yelling. And he's just yelling Mo, at the top of his lungs to try and find her. There's an interesting kind of subplot happening in this film where two cab drivers are just sitting at the cab terminal, waiting for calls to come in. And the two have a philosophical chat about women and life, and just spend the entire film, these two characters, who are played by John Thompson from Cold Feet and Ian Hart, who people might know as Professor Quirrell from Harry Potter. Cab drivers are an integral part of this film, Born Romantic. There's this one cab driver, and he is essentially like the guardian angel for all three couples. He's played by Adrian Lester, and he's the one who gets Frankie to dance, teaches him some steps. He helps reunite Mo with Fergus, he gives a pep talk to both Jocelyn and Eddie, but he does come off as the only working cabbie in all of London because they all continually end up in his cab. For me, the standout bit of physical comedy was when Frankie and his ex-wife are sitting at the table and his house or his table are on a slant, so the ashtray just starts slowly sliding and neither makes a move to grab it, and it shatters just like their relationship. The thing is, Born Romantic is a pretty fun comedy. It's just that it doesn't really have enough kind of appealing actors for people to find it on DVD. If you're not a Craig Ferguson fan, you might not give this a second look. There's a fun moment where he talks too loudly and the music stops, just like in 10 Things I Hate About You. There's a bit where one character spills Tabasco sauce on his penis, and it looks like he's masturbating from behind. So the characters are quite likeable, and it's the kind of comedy that tells you that love will find a way, but the problem I had with it was that everything was tied up a little too neatly for everything. It's all a bit too convenient, it's all a bit too good. And that's fine for a light-hearted movie like this, but it also keeps them all in a very small world. If they're not at their homes or the salsa club, then they're at a graveyard or in a cab. And those are basically all the sets that exist. Would have been good to see more street walking, more, restaurants, more London. It's not really a character in the film at all. Overall, Born Romantic is fun, it's fine. I mean, salsa plays a very big part in the film in terms of all three male characters needing to dance at some point, which you don't always get in a movie like this. So it's fine. If you're a Craig Ferguson fan, you've probably already seen it. It's a British film. It's quite heartfelt at times. And, possibly one you should check out if you want a nice evening in.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeifyoucan.com.